Like it's Daredevil Born Again season 2, episode 1. I believe it's called The North Star. And I just finished watching it. And I gotta say, I'm just gonna be straight up, just right up the gate. I thought it was friggin' amazing.
I did too.
I
Yeah.
so happy. Like I have heard, like I heard other people chit-chatting about it online or like online, and everybody's like the first two are a little slow, and then it really kicks in gear. And I'm like,
Is this slow?
I was slow about this episode. I was like, I, I mean, like I wrote down on a note just in the first 19 minutes, we got the new unit. We've got the Daredevil that which was sweet. The
Oof.
coloring, the color
Yes.
on those shots, amazing. We got instantly. I haven't even seen like any breakdowns on this or any book, so this is all just off the top of my head. He's instantly player mode back with character. Like I
Yes.
mean, he's already slutting it up. Then we've
Well,
got
that's all he did the first season. He was just
right
all of these women.
White Suit Fisk. We got Matthew Lillard instantly
Yes.
introduced on the phone. Somebody calls Dave Fontaine. She's mentioned, and the swordsman in 19 minutes.
Yes.
We got all of that in 19.
I don't understand the slowness to me. That to like I mean, especially comparing it to the first season, which while it was good, it was very obvious that it was two different storylines that they merged together, and the original script was more about Matt Murdock and less about Daredevil. So I guess the first episode of season one, Foggy gets shot. Daredevil is in his Daredevil suit, so we got that. But the rest of it was Matt Murdock. Obviously, he got shot. They looked at it as his baptism. He has the green light to go and destroy people again. And this season kicked off with that immediately. I was iffy about the Karen Page thing. I'm glad she's back in the show. Don't get me wrong. I think she's a great character. I loved her in the Netflix version. They wrote her out of the first script and then brought her back in. You kind of noticed that their whole on again, off again thing, like, because you teased it with Punisher at one. So I don't know. Like, I'm glad she's back, but throwing them back together is what fine. I'm not mad at it. I just okay. I would rather him still be trying to not figure things out with Heather, but like I want some more tension there. And it seems like Matt has moved on. It's like, no, I need you to see her in this pit of despair that she put herself in.
She is so I mean let's kind of again, I'm just having watched it, one would think that I could remember exactly how it played out, but we do have with Daredevil on a barge on the East River. We found out in
Yes.
the text, and it's shipping munitions. Is Wilson Fisk is shipping munitions. We don't. They spend the entire episode really kind of discussing like who is behind this, who is he getting from, shipping to, kind of thing. And they sink the barge because they find out Daredevil's on it. He gets in front of a camera, which is kind of crazy, but I mean, maybe wanted them to know that he's out there causing havoc. Um, the pilots of the boat disappear. He find him with Karen, who's combat training against the dummy. They're hooking up automatically again. We have, I don't know if that cuts right to, or do we go to the BB, or do we go to Matthew Lillard, or do we go to the psychiatrist?
I think we go to BB Urich's uh footage of the fixed up New York, I think. Then you go to the psychiatrist, I think.
Yeah, we'll just hit on all those things. So BB is basically still doing that. She's kind of doing the undercover spy work. Um, it's still in cahoots with the assistant deputy or deputy manager. who's played by the Gandolfini.
Yeah, so it's Daniel Blake, but it's yeah, the
Right.
Gandolfini kid.
Yes, yes. And she is putting together like promo videos that are later edited by, again, we're assuming her, but we don't know exactly if that's her and where she's distributing these videos to, which basically have a lot of, we're not going to be able to get away from using the F word on this podcast because there's a lot of fuck that is happening in the Daredevil series. I mean, in the instant.
Yeah,
With Matthew Lillard saying that he's on the phone with somebody and says it's a regular clusterfuck. We have Fuck Fist in the video that she puts together. There's just Matthew Lillard, it's like every other word comes out of his mouth at the meeting with Wilson Fisk. You do kind of wonder, or there had been talk about like Wilson's going to be doing this in New York, and he's going to be kind of unchecked and like, wouldn't a governor and somebody be like, the mayor just can't declare himself king of a city?
right.
This is a little weird. And we get that cleared up, I thought, which was great, instantly, because they did show up.
Yes.
They show up and they're like, hey, what's going on? But Matthew Lillard's character is there and instantly puts the box to that when De Fontaine, well, person.
I
Allegra,
thought that was a great scene because you always have the great thing about Kingpin is for the most part he doesn't panic.
right.
So you see him sitting there and basically being confronted by the attorney general and basically like you said saying, "Hey, mayor, other government officials who are well above you don't like what you're doing." And I'm curious like, okay, how's he going to react? What's he going to do? And it was very smooth and then they get the phone call. Like that is the most Wilson Fisk thing ever, and I loved how they did that. Just the timing of the phone call, even if he didn't necessarily plan it that way, because I guess he didn't know Mr. Charles was coming or something like that. But like just the way it went down was it really just showed the aura of Kingpin and how this mayor is stepping on all of the people that should be above him.
I'm not really sure if is it Mr. Charles?
Yeah,
It's his actual name, or that's just like Wilson just gave him like the moments to
right.
there. So we're a little clueless on who he is and why he's there. But again, instantly when Allegra De Fontaine, we know that Mr. Charles is going to be some sort of CIA operative.
Yes.
She's still head of the CIA despite the Senate hearings that she's currently
Right.
like in the Thunderbolts. She calls and immediately shuts it down. So we know, even though we don't know exactly who he's shipping to from, he's going to be doing it with the help of Allegra, which is great. I thought it was I kind of wanted her to be involved because of it, her being shady, him being shady, government working together, shady governments working together. So I thought that was
Makes sense.
It makes very much sense, and you have her there, and she is willing to probably be on that show.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like it's a great add to that. So you see him there. There's a lot of focus on his ring. We kept noticing that, like they kept showing his hand with that ring that's on his finger.
Yeah, I was trying to figure that out. I couldn't tell what it was, and I haven't watched any breakdowns either. So if it is something significant, I don't know what it is. I was trying to like think back to anything that we've had referenced in any of the other Marvel properties up to date in the MCU, and I I don't know what it would be as of right now.
I didn't know either, but they put a lot of folks. There's like 3 shots.
Yeah,
Like, that's something's up with that because we wouldn't just be doing that. So we know now that he's kind of working in cahoots with Mr. Charles and kind of in an offshoot of the CIA in a way, which is kind of corrupt at the moment. Not kind of, it is corrupt.
right.
Is this good? No. At all. I really instantly want, they do a great job because I really want those ABTF guys that like yesterday.
Yeah, I thought the scenes with the anti-vigilante task force were really, really good, a little unsettling, but just showing they've got their own gear now. They they're on it. They've been doing this for a while, and honestly, it was terrifying. Like just what they were able to do and how they're no longer worried about the blowback. Like they have fully bought in and leaned into their new role, and they are doing what they want to do with no fear of repercussions. I get
But I
that was
mean,
wild.
it was because then you find out that through the prosecutor, he's corrupt too.
Yep.
Um, when he is talking to, I forget, I'm blanking on her name, talking about
Kristen
this,
Duffy.
the sword,
Kristen McDuffie.
right, the swordman, kind of like the trial of him coming up, or a lot of those vigilante trials are coming up,
Yeah.
and he's corrupt, and he has backing of the mental health provider now as Heather. So I mean, like she's got, so there's it's corruption from the top down. So
It's the entire system, which I could go on an hours long rant about the system being corrupt, but it truly, one step at a time, did such a good job of like, hey, you sank this boat and my weapons. Cool. I control the media, so I will label you as a terrorist and label this as a terrorist attack. Oh, we've got other vigilantes going on trial. Well, I've got my cops to handle people in the streets. I've got the prosecutor that flat out said evidence doesn't matter. I've got the psychiatrist who is supposed to be laying out the case neutrally on my side. And now I've got the attorney general, some part of the CIA, and people like, and they just did such a good job of laying it out. And then you go back to scenes with Daredevil, and you just get that Star Wars Rebellion hopelessness feel of like, congrats on sinking his ship. You sent him a message, and at the end of the day, it meant absolutely nothing because he's 15 steps ahead because he owns everyone. So it's like you want to play by the rules, you want to do this right, which is Matt Murdock's whole thing. You want like his whole thing is like using the justice system to try and do the right thing. Obviously, he, bashes skulls in, but he tries to use the legal system in this first episode, literally just laid out how Kingpin has pretty much eliminated that. He's just taken that piece off the board and made you as a lawyer pretty much irrelevant. And then you go back to last season, and even if the legal system does work in your favor, like it did for White Tiger, that man was free for like 5 minutes before he was killed. So it's like they've shown like just an outstanding job showing the position that the good guys are in versus the corrupt power that is in control.
give me one. Sorry about that. All right. Yes, but yes, the top down mayor, lawyers, the cops, the evaluators, corruption through and through this entire thing. And yeah, at this point, it seems like Matt is kind of fighting a losing battle.
He's fighting a
As
losing
is
battle on both sides as a lawyer. And again, he's not really practicing right now because Fisk knows he's Daredevil. So before, he could kind of play both sides. At this point, if he goes out as Matt Murdock, he's going to get scooped up. But like from the lawyer standpoint of doing things the right way, losing battle, and then being just a vigilante, all your buddies are getting rounded up. So it's you against everything that he has back. And like, congrats on sinking that ship. Didn't matter.
a but kind of a little bit of help with the lady. I don't know if we even know her name yet, that runs the Greek restaurant that is helping
Oh,
people kind of leave the area. Um, she was going to help the one of the pilots of the boat. and he instantly gets rounded up by the ABTF, who then gets interrogated by them and shot by Buck.
I was curious what the point of the interrogation was.
I don't know. I think it's
Like
just
maybe where is your co-pilot, your co-captain, first mate? Like maybe where's he? But like he openly would have admitted, oh yeah, we were boarded by Daredevil and we sunk the ship like we were told. Like what other info were you trying to get out of him at that point?
we're trying to kind of allude like to when Matthew Lillard in Charles' character was like, "Are you okay with just wiping out innocent people?" Like,
Yeah,
is it where they're kind of showing that like maybe we need less high or just more disposable people? I couldn't understand that either because I was like, he just kept saying, I did what I was asked.
yeah.
Like both. And it was like, I think maybe they were just clearing up loose ends because he said, or who knows about the cargo? And he said just the pilot, the co-pilot. So, or the captain, but what outside of that, I just didn't understand what. I mean, I guess it was just showing you that Buck is still kind of the one who's, he's not the. He doesn't want to talk to these guys. He doesn't want to talk. He just why are we doing? You must enjoy with your job because you must just punching people.
Right.
A much easier way to do this shoot. That's kind of the thing. Which again, but we don't know the lady at the restaurant, the Greek lady, who she is exactly. I doubt she's long for this mortal coil, but who
Yeah.
knows? She does help the other captain, co-captain, co-pilot of the ship of the barge later at the end of the episode. Um, Karen talks about how she's getting information from Jess. I think we can assume, or maybe it's just a theory right now, even though we know she's going to be in the new
She's
show.
popped up in the trailer, so it's like,
Right.
how many Jesses are we gonna add to this show?
Right. Like it's like, yeah, we just started adding like not that Jess, but
Yeah,
another
the other
Jess.
Jess.
All right, we're talking about obviously Jessica Jones is supposed to appear sometime in the series. So we're probably going to theorize right now that that's who Karen's kind of informant or who's giving her the information.
That's who, in my opinion. I did like seeing the little secret agent because even though we said he's fighting a losing battle right now, it's still good to see people trying. So you have the guy that dropped off like the dossier at the bodega and the detective, and like it's good to see their little network of secret agents, and then obviously Jess coming up.
Yeah, which kind of takes me back to what I was thinking in the very first scene, when the opening scene of it, and he's fighting is we're in street fight summer, baby. We're going from Daredevil to Punisher to Spider.
Yes.
We are
Yeah.
Doomsday and all that. They have the end of the year with Doom, but this is street fight
They're
summer.
bringing they're bringing it in.
We're officially in street fight summer.
Yes.
Are you enjoying this?
I am very happy with it. I know there was a lot of people that, hated Tom Holland, not hated Tom Holland, but hated that Spider-Man wasn't the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, but was the friend of the billionaire Avengers with his billion-dollar tech suit and fighting global threats. So they're shrinking it, and honestly, I'm here for it. I like seeing this. Obviously, when you're dealing with more street level villains, you get better fight choreography because it's not, Omega blasts coming from your hands. So I'm excited for it. I like what we've gotten so far, and obviously, like you said, Spider-Man and Punisher, I'm ready.
Yeah, because this goes. I don't know when the last Daredevil episode airs, but I know we know now that Punisher. I think it's like final or one kill shot or what. I could
One last kill, something like that.
can't imagine one last kill because you're being Spider-Man. But
Right.
um, the May 12th is the date for that. I think it's going to be just a one-off. I don't know if it's like
Agreed.
or how long they're planning on making that, but that will be then sandwiched between Daredevil Born Again season 2 and Spider-Man Brand New Day.
Brand new day.
And they have already made it very clear that Brand New Day takes place immediately after Daredevil season 2. So they are leading this in when I feel like again, not to go back to when we were discussing the trailer too much, but I think that's kind of why we're pretty settled on the fact that Daredevil is going to be making an appearance in Spider-Man Brand New Day. Why would you make it? Why would you say that? Why would you need? Why would we need to know
Agreed. No,
that
I
that's
100% agree with that.
that's taking place? I mean, if you couldn't have, you didn't have to say anything because we would have known with the Punisher series coming out and then the Punisher being in Spider-Man that obviously he gets out. So I mean, like you would
Right.
have in a cage frame for too long. So I mean, like that's just I think even just your average audience member would understand that. So I'm a little bit more like now that they've made that really clear, I'm feeling like yeah, we're probably gonna see it,
Yeah.
especially with the hand and all. But going back to Daredevil season 2, episode 1. Yeah, we get Cherry, who's still working for Matt Murdock, still meeting them, which I feel like all of these times they just meet out in public. It just blows me away. Like, why wouldn't you have like his, you know, that by the end of the episode, we know that they watch Cherry and that they are kind of surveilling him because they know where he's at. They busted his door. Like, you would think that you would have a tail on him.
That was weird to me. And yeah, like the way that all of these, even with Karen and BB Uric, and then with Cherry, they're out meeting in these empty areas. To me, that's dumb, especially when you're in like the most populated city in the country. I feel like you'd be safer doing one of those walk-in talks down the New York street where you blend in a lot more. Or since there's a billion buildings in New York, just pick like a random building and sit like having them out in the open to me, just two individuals. You've got Cherry and then a hooded figure. Like, oh yeah, I wonder who that could be. Like, come on now, what are we doing? Like that, I was like, you guys are better than that. But yeah,
It's
they know where he is and they were fully prepared to end him right there.
like meet in the movie theater, you know, like
Seriously.
the
I
live.
think do go ahead.
Those guys aren't going to a library. Go to a library.
Go to a library. Seriously. Like there's so many like and again, the fact that they're not in like Kansas, they're in New York. Like it was probably harder for you to find an open field to walk in
Right.
than every other option.
So speaking of Cherry, the very last scene is obviously the ABTF busting the Cherry's apartment. He sends kind of a code to Matt saying, you know, because Matt's like, meet, you know, that's the red, I forgot what it's called, but it's clearly when he's on his phone making food reservations, it's clearly that he's communicating with Matt.
Right.
And he says no, and I think that probably automatically sent, which is crazy because I'm assuming that he has text to voice Matt Murdock.
Didn't even think about that. Did not even think about that. I was about to say he saw the text. Like, did you see the text?
Like, he saw it, which is crazy because it just says it out loud. Then while like, if he's in public in any kind of place,
Right.
how the viewers believe, but I mean, like those are whole other like logistic things that just kind of go through my mind when I'm watching. Um, yeah, so the APTF bust into Cherry's apartment. They give him a nice good old beating that kickstarts a heart attack, and you know, like okay, they're they might let this character die here in the first episode, but no, Matt comes to the rescue now. Whether or not he's coming to full rescue, that'll be determined.
We'll
But
see.
right now, comes to the rescue, kicks the crap out of the ABTF. But hearing Cherry's part in his clear him having a heart attack kind of, I think, gives him a little PTSD when it comes
Yes.
to him hearing Foggy's last few heartbeats, and he's distracted enough to where the ABTF get the upper hand, pull off his mask, and they're like, holy crap, it's Matt Murdock. And you're thinking, even I was like, oh my God,
Yeah.
what are we
Yep.
going to do? And instantaneously, all of them are taken out by gunshots to the eyeball. And as soon as the bodies fell and you saw that it was in the eyeball, I knew immediately who it was.
I did not.
I was
Like,
like, who can do that good
Yeah.
of a shoot. I mean, like it would. I think if it would have been if like you would have had random shots, I would have been more likely to believe that it was Frank. But every single one of the shots hit the guys in the eye, like every one of them was the eyeball, and I was like, oh, bullseye, bad.
It took me a rewind to figure that out because the first time I thought, okay, so Frank got out. What we're going to see on May 12th happened before,
Sure.
and he's kind of just like Batman, just watching him from the shadows. And then obviously the knife, and then obviously like at that point I realized it. So then I had to rewind it, and then the second time I saw through the eyeball, and I was like, got it. But the first time, complete, I thought it was Frank.
Yeah, it's like I said, I for the moment when the bodies were hitting, I was like, there's one of two people. There's one of two people that this is. First, I thought, okay, maybe even Jessica Jones. I was like, there's
It's Hawkeye, man. We're in New York.
right, right, several people that this could be. And when they hit the ground, I thought, okay, well, we're not really going to know. And then when they did the close up, like I said, and it was everybody's eyeball was out. It's like, okay, there's only
Yeah,
one.
there's
Like it's
one
not
person.
obviously. So there's only one other guy that's in this universe right now, and sure enough,
Yeah.
when the knife lands, and I'm hoping that he carved it into
When
the
I rewound it, I
okay,
think he did. So he would
okay.
have to do feel it because yeah, at first again I was like, oh, he's not gonna see that.
And what's on the knife, obviously it says you're welcome and has bullseye drawn from it. So we know that Poindexter is that, which I think is a great character. I think the guy who plays him is does him so well. But what we didn't kind of really hit on is the fact that Heather, his ex therapist girlfriend, is clearly suffering from PTSD. From my understanding in the comics, she goes down a pretty dark path and it doesn't end up well for her. So it looks like that they're probably gonna touch on that because she keeps seeing news, which I think is kind of amazing that
I love that.
they brought him back, that it wasn't just a one and done, one, season one, and we've forgotten about him, that he ever existed. She's clearly suffering PTSD after being attacked by him and almost killed. And she's seeing him everywhere. And when she marking down, do you hear voices? When she's talking to the swordsman, and his last name's Duquesne, and I'm blanking on his first name. Um, so I'm just gonna keep calling him Swordsman. When she's marking, like going through the tape that she interviewed him with, and she's clearly marking down everything that I would imagine that she's actually doing. She's probably seeing things, she's probably hearing voices, and we just need to wonder how this is going to play out and the larger story if it comes back. Like I would have to go back and revisit her character in the comics. I just know that doesn't end up well for her, but I can't remember if what's
I remember
between.
reading something about her character when I was doing research for season one, and I am on the same page. I remember she goes on a dark path, but I don't remember the details. I am interested about her. I don't know if I can call it a character arc, but her storyline now, because the big thing with her and Matt last season was that Matt was very distant, which, to be fair, he was. He was having his own inner crisis with Daredevil and everything, but it was making him distant from his girlfriend. So she had every right to be upset and question things. And then when he was in the hospital after he got shot, when she came in, he's like, Karen, I'm like, oh, buddy, come on now. Like that probably didn't help. But at multiple points throughout season one, when she started working more and more with Fisk and Vanessa, Matt was telling her like this is not a good guy, and he couldn't tell her exactly like how much he knew, but he made it clear like this isn't a good guy, and she pushed back on it a lot. And I would be curious. Obviously, she is dealing with some mental things right now from Muse, which again, love that we're revisiting that, especially with like how quickly they moved on from him in season one, I feel like. But I also am curious about the other parts of her mental. Like, okay, now you're working for the Kingpin, and at this point, I don't know how much you were privy to, but at this point, you have to realize, like, okay, Matt was onto something because my integrity as a psychiatrist has been not necessarily questioned, but like I've done a complete 180 and turned my back on everything, all the oaths and vows I took at the request of Fisk or people affiliated with him. So I would like to go back, not go back, but I would like to while they're focusing on her descent into madness with Muse, also like morally, where are you at now? Because obviously, like she not only did she change the answers, but you see her drinking. Like I think this is all weighing on her. But I am curious, not of a "I told you so," but more of a like, how easy was it for you to do a 180 on your morals? Are you afraid? Like, what's going on here is what I'm curious to see.
Much corrupt because she even tells Duquesne, and the thing is, you're not in a normal prison. Nobody knows
Yes.
her. Like you can just like you think he's like it's funny that you think you're gonna get a lawyer that's gonna make a difference. And, like she's already corrupt because she's like, I don't
We
even
can have you beaten and push the trial back until you
right,
heal. Nobody knows you're here, type of
right.
thing.
So I mean like she already is very much neck deep in whatever corruption is going on in
True.
New York. So and she's flagrantly, like waving it in front of their faces, like there's nothing you can do, and like now I'm gonna make you look like a psychopath because the prosecutor asked me to. Like
Yeah.
she just doesn't care, and she's already maybe it's part of her like, well, the system didn't work for me, so who gives a shit about the system? Like
Right.
that's like her thing is I just don't care. Like I was if he can take any of these people off the street, good, bad, whatever, I'm all for it, which is just crazy, but maybe that'll delve more into her PTSD. So overall, happy with the episode?
I am very happy with the episode. I think they covered a lot in season one. They really leaned into the darkness, the action. I'm very excited to see where it goes. I think they left it on a good enough cliffhanger because I'm also curious about the dynamic between Bullseye and Daredevil. Like, obviously, his real beef is with the Fisk family and Vanessa because she was the one that, like, he did what he did to Foggy, and
Right.
then she kind of turned his back on him, which is why he was going to kill Fisk in front of her at the gala. But now he's out here saving Daredevil. Like, what's that dynamic? I'm curious about that. I'm curious, obviously, them showing Karen doing her fight training means that she's going to get herself into some situations where she has to fight her way out. And honestly, I appreciate the fact that they're showing her training rather than just she went from
Skills. Yeah.
like a paralegal receptionist and all of a sudden she's out here throwing hands. I'm glad that
Right.
they fit that in there so you can be like, okay, she's been training.
Right.
Curious about all the different characters. I'm curious about Kristen McDuffie and where that law firm is going. Like my hot take is I think Daniel Blake, when Karen was talking to BB, she's like the easiest people to manipulate are manipulators. Like I think BB is using him to get information. I think he's not as dumb as I think he's dumb, but I think he's not as dumb as they want us to think he is. And I think he's on to BB that she is giving good news stories, but is also playing both sides. Like I think he knows, and I think he's going to be the one to expose her. And while she thought she was playing him, he was playing her. I think that's what's going to happen. Like all the storylines that they opened up in the first episode, I am very excited for. Like, there's not a single one where I'm like, oh, the B story is so slow and like I'm invested in all of these different things.
It's great. And like they're sticking with one director and one writer throughout the
Yes.
entire season. And from like I said at the beginning of this, where a lot of the chatter online has been the first two episodes were kind of slow, but that it really kicks up in gear and just I'm like, okay, this episode one
What
was
is slow to you?
I was like, maybe the next one slows down a little bit, but which I can understand because yeah, you want to grab everybody's attention, you want to have them fun,
For sure.
like and then do a little bit of like floor laying and how get some foundation built and before you ramp up and go more. But everything seems like it's going to be pretty fighty, pretty intense, pretty Killy,
Yeah,
very, very much leaning into their R rating. Yeah, I'm excited for it. I think it's great. I'm ready for Street Fight Summer.
me too.
I love the new costume. I love the black with the deep. Love everything about it. Can't wait to see. I can't even wait like what the edits are. But there's somebody mocking Mayor Fisk too. Like where these these videos going to? They're just going up straight to YouTube, and I want to know all of it. I mean, it's great. I love all the characters. Can't wait to see Jessica Jones show up. Can't wait to see who else shows up. Like I said, I was shocked that we got a Allegra de Fontaine right off the bat in the first episode.
I would
I
love more of. I'm just a fan of Julie Louise-Dreyfus. The more of her, the better. So if we can get a little cameo of her with her little purple hair, I am all for it.
agree. I think it's great. I think they're doing a great. I love the fact that we're going like I into this, the Punisher, the Spider-Man, um, that we have like taking this to July. Like
Yes,
that's just great. That's great stuff. That's old school Marvel. I think it's fantastic. I'm ready for it all back. So yeah, can't wait to see episode two. I think they're only just doing one a week.
I think there was 1 week where it's 2 episodes, and I'm gonna be honest, that might be next week.
Next week. Yeah, which is fine.
Disney
That's fine.
Plus, because they had
Okay.
released like the episode break, like uh, not breakdown, but the episode
Yeah, schedule.
things. Yeah, schedule. I don't know why that word was so hard to find. But yeah, and I think next week might be 2 episodes. Okay. March 24th, that's old. It said 2 episodes. How did I miss it? Because it got shared everywhere. Yeah. I think next week might be 2 episodes.
Yeah. Well, we'll be covering them both. So yeah, we hope to hear what your thoughts are, what your theories are, who you think should show up in this outside of Jessica Jones. Do you think anybody else, any
Two
other kind of
episodes next week.
2 episodes? So yeah, theories on where we're gonna go. Obviously, we know kind of from the Spider-Man trailer that Fisk isn't going to stay in a mayoral position very long, but now with friends like Allegra, maybe he's moving up.
I am very curious about that one. That one is something that because like you, yeah, you go and you break down the trailer and you see someone else giving Spidey the key to the city and all of that.
Which is she works for him. She
She
is,
works for
yeah.
him, and yeah, it's like, is he just too busy? Did they not want to pay D'Onofrio? I don't know, but I'm
Mhm.
curious about it. I'm curious who those weapons were for. Obviously Fisk is working with the government, so it's like maybe, I mean, the guy said, moving X amount of pounds of weapons through New York isn't easy. So it's like, okay, maybe these weapons are just literally for the government and they just wanted an easy way to transport. Like, I'm very curious about that storyline and yeah.
Didn't she factor into the Allegra Von Fontaine? Did she fact have they said whether or not she's going to factor into Vision Quest or they still doing Armor Wars?
Yeah, so it's funny. I actually like had just was sending you a text of the stuff that's coming out this year. X-Men 97 is coming out this year, even though they've released nothing for it. But we do have Vision Quest in the fall. And since, originally Vision was the property of the US government, I am curious, like, if she's a part of that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, excited to see where it's going to go. Excited to see that how everything plays out. I think they're doing a great job of linking everything together, and yeah, can't wait, can't wait. Like I said, I'm so glad this kind of takes us through July.
Yes.
So yeah, super excited. Which then even takes us into December because he will be in Doomsday. So
Yes.
yeah, kind of excited to see how it all connects together. Like I said, old school Marvel feeling back all together, kind of,
Yes.
activities, enjoy that. So, yeah, you'll see us next week. We will cover both episodes, so
Yes.
it'll be a little longer.
Yes.
We really like that, but okay. And we will see you next week.